Oh, yeah, here we go again. Hello and welcome into Ray on Sports. I am your host, Johnny Ray. In this podcast, we talk all things sports from my own opinion. You may agree or you may disagree, but all I do is ask that you listen. So come on in, buckle up, and let's take this ride.
Hello. Welcome again to Ray on Sports. This is Johnny Ray, your host for Ray on Sports, and I'm coming to you live from the JCR Studios in Lancaster, California. This week we're going to talk. What are we going to talk about? Talk about coaching. That's been a big subject today. Also, we're going to talk a little wild card playoffs, and a little bit about the Lakers, but not too much because I'm kind of frustrated. Also, before I get started, I want to say I'm praying for the families of all those who lost their homes this week with the LA fires. I'm out here in California. We are about maybe an hour and a half away from the fires, but we've seen them. We know family members and people that have been affected by it, and we send our prayers out to them. We know immediate family members that have been affected by these fires. They have lost their homes, but like I said, we are praying for them. We are praying for their peace. We are praying that they come out of this okay. We've seen stories about different families and that have started, GoFundMe accounts to help with the assistance, from all the devastation and all the loss. But we know God is still able, and as long as you keep your hand in His hand, everything's going to be all right. We can lose worldly possession, but God is still in the blessing business, and He can restore everything that you have lost. So for any of those families that are listening to this podcast, I want to tell you, God bless you for being diligent through it. I know it's a lot. I know it's a big loss, but God will still make a way out of no way. So we are praying for you here at Ray on Sports. With that being said, let's move on to the NFL Wildcards. Man, there were some good games this weekend. And we're going to get into, like I said, we're going to get into some coaching things too, because I got a little take on coaching in general. As far as, coaches, tenures, I call this episode Coaching in Sports. Is it like a relationship? Because that's how it feels. But before I get into that, let's go through the playoffs real quick. So in the NFC Wildcard playoffs, we had the Texans against the Chargers. Nobody had the Texans winning that game. They thought the Chargers would come in there and blow them out the water. And what happened was the opposite of that. Chargers actually lost that game. They thought with Jim Harbaugh, with Justin Herbert, that they would go into Texans. Texas wasn't really rolling that well. The Chargers that was the upset of the week. That's what everybody thought was going to be the upset of the week, was the Chargers beating the Texans at home. But it didn't happen like that. Justin Herbert went 14 for 32, 242 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. Let me say it again, 4 interceptions. Yes. So Justin, I don't know. Is he the right quarterback for that system? Don't know. But see, that's going into my coaching thing I'm going to talk about later, about how the coach affects your system. He has Jim Harbaugh as a coach. And Jim Harbaugh, if you know his history, every place he's been a winner. He came to San Francisco. First year, took us to I'll say us because that's my team, took us to the Super Bowl. And he had Colin Kaepernick as his quarterback, and he took him to the Super Bowl. He left there, went to Michigan, took Michigan to the national championship game with a so-so quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. And so then he came back to the NFL, went to the Chargers. Now, can't say it was a failure, because he took the Chargers from where they were last year to 11-7 this year. So they didn't make the playoffs last year, but this year he took them to the playoffs. So I can say that it's an improvement, a vast improvement, with almost the same roster that they had the year before he got there. So that was pretty good, but they still need some work. And Justin Herbert, you got those quarterbacks. So I'll say this about Herbert. You got quarterbacks who are ready for the spotlight, and you got those who are not. Justin Herbert was not ready for that spotlight, and it showed. And like I said, he had 242 yards, and nothing else. And their rookie wide receiver was the top producer. He had 9 catches for 197 yards and 1 touchdown. And that was it. That's all they had. The Texans, C.J. Stroud, 22 for 33, 282 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. Joe Mixon had 106 yards rushing, and Nico Collins 122 yards passing. So the Texans end up beating the Chargers 32-12, which sets them up for the next round when they're going into Arrowhead to play the Chiefs. We'll see how that turns out. The other game, Steelers versus the Ravens. That game, yeah, I had the Ravens winning, but everybody thought the Steelers would give it a good fight. But the Ravens was just too much for you. You got Derrick Henry in the backfield, and you can't stop that dude. That dude is like a truck, a runaway truck. So they couldn't stop him. 26 carries, 186 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, ain't stopping that. If you can't stop the run, you're not gonna win. And this is the playoff. And in the playoffs, you got to stop the run. You have to stop the run. I don't care how good your quarterback is. If you can't stop that run, your quarterback's in trouble because they know, okay, they can't run the ball. So all we can do is rush the quarterback. Now, Russell Wilson was 20 for 29, 270 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But that was it. They scored their 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, and that was it. So the Ravens defense shut them down for 3 quarters. Play like that. Because Russ only scored the 2 touchdowns in 1 quarter, which is third quarter. Najee Harris, like I said, the run game. He only had 6 carries for 17 yards. That tells you the whole story right there, which is telling me, coaching-wise, is that we can't run the ball, so we're going to give it to Russ and put it in Russ's hand and see if Russ can win it for us. And Russ, sorry to say, it's not the same Russell Wilson that was in Seattle. Little bit things done changed. He's a little bit different now. He tried, but I give him that. Are they going to bring him back? Don't know. Is Mike Tomlin coming back? Of course. I would not get rid of Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's on my list of top coaches in the league with the most tenure with one team. So I don't think they were going to get rid of Mike Tomlin. I think I heard something today on ESPN radio. I think it was the Greeny show. They were talking about Mike Tomlin, and they were saying, do you think he should leave? Should he go somewhere else? And the answer was no. It's not him, because he's coaching a heck of a job, because he coached a team that nobody predicted to make the playoffs to another playoff with Russell Wilson as his quarterback and Justin Fields as his quarterback. So they saying no, it's not Mike Tomlin. It's the front office. The front office needs to get better and getting them some good players in there. Actually, what they need is a quarterback. They need a good quarterback, because Mike Tomlin knows what he's doing out there. He had Ben Roethlisberger, took him to the Super Bowl. So Mike is good. I like Mike. Mike is very frank. He's very honest. He's very blunt. He's the kind of coach that you would run through a wall for. So I don't see no reason why Pittsburgh would get rid of him. I would be very, very, very surprised if they got rid of him, but I don't think they will. But in that game, Ravens 28, Steelers 14. Lamar Jackson, my man, 16 for 21, 175, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, my man Derrick Henry, the truck. I think they call him the semi. 26 carries, 186 yards, and 2 touchdowns. You know, when you're watching the games like that, you see these guys running, and you look at the final stats. When you're watching the game, you don't think they're really doing that much, but the runs that he had, the stiff arms, the stiff arms that he does to people, oh my God, it's like amazing. But like I said, once he starts running downhill, there's no way you can stop him. Once he gets to that second level, once he gets past that first level and gets to that second level, there's no stopping him. So, and Pittsburgh found that out. You can't stop Derrick Henry. Next game, the Broncos versus the Bills. There's not too much to say about that game. Nobody picked the Broncos to win. I think maybe one person picked them to upset the Bills, but the Bills were at home. Josh Allen, nah, you're not beating Josh Allen at home. Josh Allen is on a mission. He's one of those quarterbacks that's on a mission this year to get to the promised land, to get to the Super Bowl. So I didn't think he was going to do anything. He had Josh Allen 20 for 26, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bo Nix, quarterback of the Denver Broncos, 13 for 22, 144 yards, 1 touchdown. And he was also their leading rusher. So that tells you that tells you the story right there. You can't rush the ball, you can't run the ball, you can't win the game. James Cook for the Buffalo Bills, 23 carries, 120 yards, 1 touchdown. So I think their defense just killed them. Denver Broncos scored 7 points, and that was in the first quarter. 1 touchdown. I saw the one touchdown. After that, nothing. They got shut out the rest of the game. So, yeah, no. It's not going to happen. You can't win like that. You cannot win like that. Like I said, they only had 79 yards rushing and 145 yards passing. That won't get it done. Time of possession was 41 minutes for the Bills and 18 for the Broncos. That tells you right there that they're not, nothing's going right. Their third down efficiency was 2 for 9. That's not going to help. And their fourth down efficiency was 1 for 3. And they also allowed 2 sacks. So yeah, that tells you all you need to know about that game. I think Josh Allen, he goes up against, so that matchup means that the Ravens going into the Buffalo next week. I'm sorry, this Sunday, January 19th, for the divisional round against the Bills. That's the game of the week. That's what everybody's talking about. That's what everybody's looking forward to. They're going to see who's the real MVP. That's the way he put it. Is it Lamar Jackson or is it Josh Allen? We'll see. We'll see how it goes, and I'll give you my take once the game's over. I'll come back and give you another take on that. Next game, the Packers versus the Eagles. Now, for those who don't know, my wife is a Packer fan. She wasn't too happy about this game. Jordan Love had some good stats, but he also had 3 picks. Now, here's something that you might not know about interceptions. You look at the stats about the interceptions, and it said he had 3 interceptions, but most of the time, sometimes it's on the receiver, sometimes it's on the quarterback. 2 of his interceptions was on the receiver because the receivers just didn't catch the ball. One of them, I think he tipped it, and it went into the defensive player's hands. Second time, I don't know if he ran the wrong route or they were on the wrong page or whatever. Same thing. Just Jordan threw the ball, and the receiver was not in the right spot, and he kind of like tipped the ball. And when he tipped the ball, it went right to the defensive hands, and they took it. So when I look at interceptions, I kind of go back and look at the games and the highlights to see what the interceptions were. And unless the quarterback is like just throw it directly at the defender or not finding its receivers, then I give it on the quarterback. Sometimes it's on the receiver, but the receiver don't get stats like that. The receiver don't get stats of missed balls, missed balls. They don't get a stat of interceptions. It's always on the quarterback. It's always the quarterback this, the quarterback that, the quarterback that. I think they should have a new stat where it's on the receiver. A stat like not running the right route stat. How many times did this receiver not run the right route? So if he'd run the right route and him and the quarterback would have been on the same page, it wouldn't have been an interception. But that's just my own personal take, and this is my show, so I give you my take on it. For the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts came back from concussion, was cleared to play, went 13 for 21, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, cardiac kid. I tell him that because he was with the New York Giants. New York Giants didn't want to pay him for whatever reason. So he went to the Philadelphia Eagles and had a banner year, over 1,000 yards rushing. He had 25 carries, 119 yards. Devontae Smith, 4 receptions, 55 yards. So that was pretty good. Pretty good game. Josh Jacobs, leading rusher for the Packers, 81 yards. That was it. Like I said, I'm still saying it. If you're in the playoffs, you got to know how to run the ball. You got to run the ball. No matter where you play, you got to know how to run the ball because when the passing game stops, the running game's not going, you can't win like that. You can ask any of the top teams that win. They always have a running game. Whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the running back, somebody got to be your leading rusher. If you don't have that, you can't win. Can't win playoffs game. You can't just rely all on your quarterback because it's not going to get done. Next game, Commanders versus the Buccaneers. Now, this was a great game. I watched the majority of the game. This was a good game. This went right down to the wire. The thing that changed the game was Baker Mayfield fumbling the ball on a handoff. I think they missed the handoff, or it was a missed communication on the handoff. He held it too long, or I think it was the receiver who was doing that. They was doing like a jet sweep or something, and he missed the handoff or something. But Baker fumbled, and the Commanders jumped on it, and that was the tail of the game. After that, Commanders went on. Jaden Daniels, that boy is going to be the Rookie of the Year, NFL Rookie of the Year. Some saying he's going to be the Offensive Player of the Year. His first year, Jaden Daniels. First year, first playoff game. First of all, he took the Commanders to a 13-5 record, which is impressive for a rookie quarterback. And at the beginning of the season, when they talked about him, they didn't talk about Jaden Daniels as the one that's going to be the rookie of the year. They was talking about Caleb Williams from Chicago, and we already know how his season ended. They were horrible. The Bears were horrible, and that's another thing that has to go into coaching, which I'm going to, like I said, I'm segueing into that a little bit. But yeah, Caleb Williams did not have the right coaching staff to emulate and elevate his talent. He wasn't in the right system. The system they ran for him did not work for him. But Jaden Daniels, right coach, right system. 24 for 35, 268 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had 13 carries for 36 yards. He was their top runner. But he had the Commanders. See, the thing about a running quarterback and a quarterback that moves out the pocket like that is you have to count for him. So when you're on defense, you can't double a receiver because you're looking back at the quarterback because he might take off. And then just the threat of him taking off freezes your linebackers and freezes your defensive end. It freezes your safeties because you're looking back in the backfield at the quarterback and saying, is he going to run? Is he going to pass? He's going to run? He's going to pass. And then a great offensive coordinator will see that and says, okay, this is what they're doing. They're freezing. They're spying you. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to go this way, fake it, and then throw the other way or something like that. Whatever the play call is. But that's the difference between having a athletic quarterback that can run. Lamar Jackson is the same way. Patrick Mahomes, same way. Josh Allen, same way. Those guys can run. So you always have that threat of them getting out the pocket. So you can't just rush 4 and says, rush 4 and he'll just sit in the pocket. No, he's not going to do that. They're going to find a way to get out of it. And that's just football smarts. That's just football. It's called football IQ, where you know where they're going before they get there. So that's what Jaden Daniels has. And it was a great game. I watched the whole game. I think I watched the whole game. I don't know where was I? I was somewhere, but I was watching the whole game. But it was good game. And it went down to the wire, and Jaden ran him down the field, and they kicked a winning field goal. And that was it. Game over. Bam. Baker Mayfield, 15 for 18, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he wasn't the same Baker. He researched the Buccaneers. He researched his career because Baker started off with the Browns, and we all know how that went. I think it was too much too soon, and now he's trying to get it back. So it's working, but it's not working. So good luck to you, Baker. Hopefully I think they signed him for another deal, so he'll be back. No problem. Now, the game of the night. Oh, my God. And I watched that game. Oh, my God. Vikings, the number 2 seed in the NFC, lost to the Rams, 27-9. I talked to a friend of mine who's a diehard Detroit Lions fan, and his take was, yeah, they were still shell-shocked from us. And I believe it. Sam Darnold, I believe it. He was shell-shocked because he didn't look comfortable in the pocket. And they put it on him. The Rams put it on him. The Rams jumped on him early. And, yeah, they scored 10 points in the first quarter. They scored 14 in the second. And then by the time, before you know it was 24-0. And then the Minnesota scored. So, yeah, the Rams put it on him. The Rams was on a mission. Matthew Stafford's on a mission. If you didn't hear, one of Matthew Stafford's quotes was, yeah, we're just waiting for Detroit. We need to get back at them. And they're like, wait a minute, wait. You still got 2 more games to get to Detroit. And he's like, yeah, but we're waiting for that rematch. That right there tells you a leader. He's ready to go. He's ready to make it to the next level. So he wasn't really looking past the Vikings, but he was that confident knowing that we can go in here and win and move on to the next level and to the next round. And the Vikings, I don't know. They were a surprise team because they weren't supposed to be that good with Sam Darnold. But Sam Darnold went in there, and this is one of those things where you have a coach that gets the best out of your players. Mike Shanahan does that in San Francisco. I'm sorry, is it Mike Shanahan? Is it Shanahan? Kyle Shanahan. I'm sorry. Kyle Shanahan does it in San Francisco. Mike Shanahan did that in Denver when he had John Elway. You take the talent that you have and you build a system around what you have. And in Minnesota, they took the talent they have, Sam Darnold, and they built a system around him to make him successful. But once the defense figures that out, and it's like improvised, like Sam's more of a, okay, tell me where they need to go, and that's where I'm going to put the ball at. But if everything's covered, I can't think. And I think that's what happened with him, with the Lions first exposed him to that. And so the Rams saw that and said, okay, we're just going to play him the same way. You know, he gets confused. He gets stuck in the pocket. He's holding the ball too long. And I think I heard Tom Brady said it once in the telecast that as far as they said, how long you have in the pocket? He said about 4 seconds. He said after 4 seconds, I'm getting rid of the ball. I don't care if it's a throwaway or not. I'm getting rid of that ball. He said, because you only got 4 seconds in the pocket. A lot of quarterbacks don't see that. They think they have 6 seconds, 8 seconds, 10 seconds. Even on Madden, if you play Madden long enough, you got about 4 seconds to get rid of that ball. I play Madden, and I played I guess it's called a My Player mode or whatever, where I'm the quarterback. And I do that. I sit there and go, oh crap, I only got like 4 seconds. I got to get rid of this ball. And I'm sitting there and I'm doing the practice drills and all that. And then practice drills, they got the little dummies sitting up there. And it shows you, it says 4 seconds, 4 seconds. And then they jump up a little bit. And it's like, okay, you should have got rid of the ball by then. And in the practice drills on Madden, if you never played it, I think you lose points if you don't throw the ball in time. You actually lose points if you throw the ball in time. You know, they show the route the receiver's supposed to run. You're supposed to get rid of the ball by the time he's, halfway through his route. This is something I learned. I've been watching football a long time, but I didn't kind of know it. And when I played Madden, when I first started playing Madden, I was like, okay, he should be running this way. The ball, I'm going to wait till he get there and throw the ball. I've learned that you have to throw the ball before he gets to his spot. Because if he runs the right route and the defense plays whatever coverage they're playing, your receiver gets the right route, the ball's going to get there. But you only have like 4 seconds in the pocket. So I said all that to say that Sam Darnold was shell-shocked. I mean, yeah, he had a lot of yards passing, but he was shell-shocked. He was 25 for 40. That tells you right there. He threw the ball 40 times. 40 times. No run game. Aaron Jones, 13 carries for 48 yards. No run game. T.J. Hockenson, 5 receptions, 64 yards, 1 TD. That was it. They couldn't do nothing. They couldn't do nothing with him. The Rams had their number. And Sam Darnold's only touchdown came in the third quarter with 26-yard passes to T.J. Hockenson. That was it. So, yeah, you got to. So with that, all that being said, I'm going to my other point, which is about coaches. Coaching in any sport, is it about the relationship of the coach or is it about the system? There's a lot of coaches now in all kind of sports, in all different areas of sports, that been there a long time. Like I said, Mike Tomlin's one of them. He's been with the Steelers for 11 years. He was hired in 2007, 11 years. He's took them to the playoffs almost each and every year he's been there, and he's still there. They haven't won. I think they won 1 Super Bowl since he's been there. Maybe 1 to 2. I hadn't looked at those stats, but I believe he even had won 2 Super Bowls with Ben Roethlisberger. But that tells you right there, sometimes it's not about the coach, it's about the ownership. The ownership trusts Mike Tomlin. They say they don't look at it as a coaching problem. They look at it as a player problem, a coordinator problem, whatever it is. But they don't look at it as a head coach problem. So that's a good organization to work for. You got an organization, the Pittsburgh Steelers, that believe in their coaching. I think over the last maybe 30-something years, they've only had maybe 4 coaches. You have some franchises that have had in 30 years and had 20-something coaches in 30 years because they don't trust the coaching system. They blame the coaches, not the players. How about that? Another coach that has a tenure like that is Greg Popovich, San Antonio Spurs. Greg Popovich has coached the Spurs for 20 years. When he came in, his first season with them was a 20-62 season. Greg went on to win 5 NBA championships with them. Ended up with a record of 1406 and 840 and 170 and 170 wins and 114 losses in the playoffs. That's tenure right there. Like I said, he started 2062. Some team coaches in this area and today, you start off 2062 the first season, you get fired. Is that management or is that coaching? Or is that players? The players back then and the players now are totally different. Players today can get a coach fired within a heartbeat. Did I say that? Within a heartbeat. So do you go with what the players saying, or do you give the coaches a chance? Back then, they gave Pop a chance and said, okay, they gave him the benefit of the doubt. Said, okay, yeah, you got a 2062 record, but, I think Duncan was hurt. No, I'm sorry. I think, not Tim Duncan. Oh, my God. David Robinson. David Robinson was hurt that year, and he came back, and then Pop came in. Pop was actually the GM at the time, and he stepped in, and they had Bob. I think his name was Bob Hill as the coach, and he fired him, and he took over as coaching. So what Pop did was Pop was coach and GM. So Pop was able to navigate what players he wanted and what players he didn't want. So he did 20 and 62, but then they got this guy named Tim Duncan, and he coached them up, and they won. Like I said, they won 5 titles off of that. So my question is coaching like a relationship? Are you in it for the long haul, or at the first sign of trouble, are you going to leave? Just like a relationship. Are you in it for the long haul? On the first time of trouble, you're going to leave. Coaching in any sport is like that now. It's more of a show me right now thing than over time. So for coaches like Greg Popovich, Eric Spoelstra, Rick Carlisle, Belichick, McCarthy, Tomlin, Sean Payton, those coaches, they had tenure with their franchises. Now, I would say and Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's another one, 10 years. Steve Kerr took over the Golden State Warriors, 10 years in. He gave them four titles. I believe it's 4 titles. But he had the roster. He had a Steph Curry. He had a Klay Thomas. He had a Draymond Green. He had a core group. He had 3 core players that were going to take him. And once you as the coach, once you get in there, your first thing is to get along with your players. And your players, actually not baby your players, but players that got to have your respect when you walk in a locker room. You can't walk in there and think, with an attitude. And the players, especially if the star player don't have your respect, nobody's going to have your respect. I noticed that in any sport. That's not just in sports. That's in anything you work. Like if you're if you're a supervisor or a manager and your employees don't have your respect, you're not going to get a good job done. How do I know? I used to be a supervisor. I used to be a manager. And the first thing I learned was respect of your employees and your employees respecting you. If your employees didn't respect you and you didn't respect them, it didn't work. I think coaching is the same way. You don't have to respect their players, and if the players don't respect you, I don't care how good the player is, they're not going to play to their top potential because they don't believe in you. And I think with Popovich, his players believe in him. Everything he said, his philosophy. Phil Jackson was another one. Players believed in him. He came into Chicago, Phil, with Michael Jordan. And Jordan was a number one. I think he was the number 1 pick, but Jordan was outstanding, but he couldn't win a playoff game. Phil came in there with a different philosophy and said, look, Mike, I know you're the dog here. I know you can do this, but if you don't listen to me, you'll never win nothing. And he said, well, what do I need to do? And Phil I don't think Phil was afraid to talk to Mike like that. He said, what do we need? And he said, you need to pass the ball. We need to do this. We need to do that. And Mike bought into it and ended up with 6 championships. Phil took that same philosophy, brought it to LA, and was with the LA Lakers, who had Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. Now, LA had already got Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, and had, oh my God, I think Rudy Tomjanovich came in. They had a couple other coaches come in and try to coach them, and they couldn't do it. Phil came in there with the same philosophy. He said, look, but see, Phil came into LA with the respect of winning 6 championships. So when he had Kobe and Shaq, they gave him respect, and it's like, oh, well, you coach Mike, the GOAT. You coach the GOAT, and the GOAT listen to you. So if he gonna listen to you, I'm gonna listen to you. Now, Phil did say that Kobe was uncoachable because Kobe was driven so hard. God rest his soul. But Phil came in there and told Kobe the same thing. And he told Shaq the same thing. Y'all can't win without these other players. Y'all can't win on your own. Y'all can try it. But if you don't listen to my philosophy and you don't follow what I'm saying, you're not winning nothing. And they listened, and they got 5 championships out of it. So that's what I'm saying in coaching. It's all about relationships. Relationship with your players, relationship with the owner, relationship with the team, relationship with everybody. If you don't have a relationship, you're not going to make it. And I don't care how good of a coach you are and people praise you and all that stuff like that. If you don't listen and you don't listen to your players and your players don't listen to you, you're not going to have success. So, Mike McCarthy name just popped up. Boom. Just got fired. I was going to get on the coaching carousel for the NFL head coaching jobs open. Mike McCarthy just got let go by the Dallas Cowboys. Now, for me, my own take, would I work for the Cowboys? No, not as long as Jerry's there, because you have no say-so in the matter of anything. Jerry, and everybody knows that the crazy part is everybody in the league knows that Jerry runs the team. It's the same thing when Al Davis ran the Raiders. Al Davis was in charge, and it was like, okay, I got to go through Al. If you're a coach here, you want to make a decision, you got to go through Al. And if Al say no, it's gonna be a no. So same thing in Dallas. Dallas is a place where if you're not a strong-minded coach, you're gonna lose under Jerry. And the evidence of that is Jerry had Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson came in there and won championships for him. Then Jerry got on his high horse and says, well, I'm in charge. This is my team. And Jimmy's like, okay, I'm out of here. I can't do this with you. I cannot coach and you looking over my... It's basically like coaches on the sideline trying to coach the players and your owner is right there looking over your shoulders. Now, owners do come down to the field. They have the right. That's their team. They have the right to do whatever they want to. But most owners will stay in the owner's box and watch and trust their coaching staff and trust their coaches and let them do the way they're supposed to do and sign off on what they want to do. If the coach said it works for them, sign off on it. Owners and GMs. So in San Francisco, and that's my team, I follow them a lot, so I can talk about them. Shanahan has the full support of John Lynch. John Lynch trusts Shanahan. John Lynch trusts Shanahan and says, we need this, we need that, we need that. And so Lynch goes out and get it. Shanahan said we needed a better running back. They went out and got McCaffrey. He had Brock Purdy. He had Jimmy Garoppolo. And they still won because Shanahan has a system that he adapted to the quarterback he had. Now, they had Trey Lance, and everybody said, and the rumor was, and I don't know how true it was, the rumor was that Trey Lance could not grasp the system that he was giving them. That, they were giving him the stuff, they were making it fit for him. And Shanahan's the kind of coach that, like I said earlier, you understand what you're working with. So you know what you're working with, so you craft your system to that person. You got this kind of quarterback, I'm going to craft my system to that kind of quarterback. This is how I want you to run the system. I know you're not really mobile, so 3-step drop, boom, get the ball out. You're a mobile quarterback, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a lot of RPOs. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're going to do a lot of play action because we got the running back for that. You got the running back to come out the backfield. Just get the ball where you need to go. And if everything else breaks down, run for like 5-6 yards. If you got that kind of quarterback who understands that, they can make that. Like I said, Tom Brady said for years, he knew his options. Tom Brady read defenses. Another quarterback who read it like that was Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning knew every defense before you even knew it. He would look at what you were doing and said, okay, yeah, they're doing this. So then he would check it down at the line. Check it down. Said, okay, they're in cover 2, or they're in man, or they're in whatever it is. And he would say, okay, they're in man. Okay, this is what we're doing. And he would get it to the right person. Oh, they're in cover 2. Okay, we're going to run this route. We're going to change it up. But that comes from coaching. That comes from trust from the coach and the quarterback. Coach trusts the quarterback to make that play. Coach trusts the quarterback to do this. A lot of quarterbacks now are not there, and the coaches are paying the price for it. You're like a lot. One coach, I said, I can give you one quarterback that's coaches paying the price for him. Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence came out of Clemson, #1 pick. They thought he was all that. But you got to remember, when he was at Clemson with Dabo tailored the system to Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence believed in Dabo. Now he got to NFL. come to find out, I don't think Trevor's that good. I can't. The jury's not all the way out on it. But since Trevor's been there, they went through 3 coaches in Jacksonville. Right now, they're looking for their 4th coach. The Jaguars they just got rid of Doug Peterson. They pulled Doug Peterson in because they figured Doug Peterson was the one who can coach Trevor because he was the coach in Philadelphia, and he had success in Philadelphia. So they figured, they bring him in, he can handle Trevor Lawrence. Didn't work. So you don't know. What I say for coaching, my take on it, my whole take on it, and I'm going to close on this, is that got to be a right coach for the right system. Relationship is a big thing in coaching. If you don't have the great relationship with your players, you don't have the great relationship with your ownership, then you cannot succeed in the NFL. You cannot succeed in any major sports if that relationship is not there. And I could talk about coaches for days. There's a lot of other coaches that come to mind that they came in and they said, if you trust my system, they talk to the owners, trust my system, trust what I want to do here, we'll win. And some owners will say, okay, yeah, I trust you. And that's the coaches that end up staying the longest. The other ones are owners like, no, I don't trust you. I trust my player more than I trust you. Well, your player's not going to get you there. Ergo, Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones trusts his players more than he trusts his coach. So now the coach is out. And the coach probably said, you know what, you don't need to pay that person, or you don't need to play him. We need to play him. And Jerry's like, no, I'm the owner. I make my own decisions. I think he had an interview where he said, I make my own decisions. The last say comes with me. If you're in that job, God, that's going to be a hard job to fill. That's a hard job to fill. He's not going to take a rookie coach. He wants a seasoned coach. That's what the word is coming out of Dallas. He wants a seasoned coach to take over. Now, there are other words came out that said he's going after Deion Sanders in Colorado. But Deion's not coming there. You know why? Because Deion has a strong opinion. Deion is very opinionated. And you think he's going to let Jerry tell him what to do? Nah. That's why he's in Colorado, because Colorado's letting them do whatever you want to do. And he's turned that program all the way around. And the thing about it is, it's not that he turned him off because he had Shedeur Sanders, his son Shedeur Sanders, and Travis. Travis Hunter. That's not the reason why he turned that program around. The reason why is because they believed in him, and his players believed in him, and the management or the ownership believed in him and said, "Yeah, Deion, whatever you need, brother, whatever you need to get it done, to get us winning again, will make us relevant again." And because he's been there, I think their admissions rate has went up, and now they even got the number 1 quarterback in the nation from high school that just committed to them. You think he committed that because of ownership? He committed that because of the coach, because of Deion. He saw what Deion did with Shedeur. And Shedeur wasn't the top-rated quarterback. And Deion hired the right coordinator, hired the right defensive coordinator. They had some flaws in it, but he hired the right coordinator to maximize what Shedeur could do as far as a quarterback and put the players in a position what they could do as a quarterback. You know, because players can make quarterbacks look real good. The right players can make a quarterback look real good. If you got a decent quarterback, but you got a right receiver that can run routes and do what they need to do, you can go a long way. I think it was Joe Montana who said that. He said, "Hey, I just threw the ball." You know, Joe Montana's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he used to say that all the time. "Hey, I just threw the ball," and they were in the right place. You know, they were there where they supposed to be, and I just threw the ball. Jerry Rice ran a great route. I threw it where I know he was going to be at. Taylor ran a great route. I threw the ball where he wanted to be. Roger Craig was in the backfield. I handed it off to him and knew what he's going to do. That's what made great quarterbacks. But you had to have great coaches too, and that relationship was great with the coach, the quarterback, and the ownership. So that's it for this week of Ray on Sports. I'm your host, Johnny Ray. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Any part of this, you can always catch me on Amazon, catch me on Spotify, catch me on YouTube, my channel, Ray on Sports 0905 at YouTube. Also, tell your smart speaker to play Ray on Sports. Yes, tell your smart speaker to play Ray on Sports, and it'll play. So until next time, this is Johnny Ray for Ray on Sports. I'll come back next week and give you my thoughts on the divisional round and also talk some Laker basketball. I didn't want to talk Laker basketball today because I'm a little hurt. They losing. They're on a 3-game losing streak. But let's not go there because that'll be another hour segment. So until next time, this is Johnny Ray for Ray on Sports. Thank you guys for taking this ride for me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for downloading the episodes. Please keep downloading. Please keep listening. Please keep sharing. If you want to ask any questions or you have any comments or you want to be a guest on the show, or if there's anybody that want to be have me sponsor them, hit me up. RayOnSports0905 @gmail.com. Once again, that's RayOnSports0905 @gmail.com. Until next time, this is Johnny Ray for Ray on Sports. Take care and God bless.